In our weekly briefing this week, artificial intelligence isn't the future. AI is already here, and it's an industry worth billions. But what the heck is it? When many of us think of AI, maybe it's just me, we think of this, the Terminator. But my guest, CBC tech commentator and futurist Jesse Hirsh, says that's not what AI is. He says it's more like the Wizard of Oz. And Jesse's here with me in studio to walk us through all of this. So Jesse, you say it's like the Wizard of Oz, AI. What do you mean?
Well, it's because there's a human involved who maybe doesn't want us to look behind the curtain, and that AI is more comparable to a puppet than it is an autonomous agent, and that it still requires a lot of human intervention.
We hear a lot about algorithms and machine learning. So what exactly is an algorithm?
Well, an algorithm is really just a recipe for sorting and ranking information. Best way to think of this is a kid on Halloween who dumps all their candy on the floor and starts sorting chocolate bars from lollipops to figure what they're going to eat first. So it's really just a basic recipe for understanding information.
So if I'm looking for blue Smarties, it'll help me find, or blue shoes or a blue canoe, whatever, it'll help me find that.
Exactly.
So what's machine learning?
Well, machine learning is really the latest iteration of AI. And to carry the Halloween analogy, it's like pattern recognition. So it's the parent who looks at all that candy, but knows there's a family history of diabetes, so instead takes all the candy away and says, maybe you'll have one or two a day, but you can't eat it all right now.
So it sounds like it's looking out for us, but really a machine replacing a parent? Is that a good thing?
Well, it speaks to how AI is now making a lot of decisions about us, whether it's our insurance rates, our credit scores, or even pharmaceuticals now using AI to find drugs.
Really?
I mean, think of Viagra. Originally, it was a heart medicine, but it was the side effect that ended up being more profitable. So now drug companies are using AI to go through all their lab results, to go through all that data to find side effects, to find possible secondary applications that might make a boring drug actually quite profitable.
And of course, just to go back to the Terminator reference, there are robots that are learning through AI. Like there was this dog, it comes up to the door, can't get through, and then figures out, oh, handle. That's AI?
Yes, and it's a great example of machine learning, in this case, literally a robot learning how to open a door and hold it open, but it still requires a human being to frame that, to teach it to do it in that way, although, as you say, it's really quite incredible.
But it's not just dogs. There's lots of other applications here.
Well, there is, and I think healthcare is one of the biggest. I mean, take, for example, remember Watson from Jeopardy?
Now we come to Watson, who is Bram Stoker, and a two-day total of 77,147.
Yeah, so I remember what's Watson up to now?
Well, after winning Jeopardy, Watson became a cancer specialist. Working with some of the best oncologists in the world,
Really?
Watson was trained to read imaging results, to be able to not only diagnose cancer, but actually chart a treatment path so that each individual has the most likely capability of putting that cancer into remission. And it's a great example of machine learning when applied, in this case, to human health.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's wonderful, but knowing you found some downsides in the technology as well.
Well, in this case, it's access to Watson. I mean, as Canadian patients, can we all get this to fight cancer? But the broader issue is things like fraud and the way in which AI can make things up, can create images of human beings that...
So those are faces, those aren't real faces?
No, they're entirely created by AI, and they're quite believable. They're quite realistic. So think the future of identity theft, think the future of fraud, or even the future of fake news when it comes to creating what are otherwise make-believe images, but believable enough that people might see them as authentic.
Well, in this age of fake news, it's kind of spooky. I guess that's how we get fooled. What are the implications here?
Well, most recently we saw it with the shooting in Parkland, Florida, in which the day after it happened, there was fake news in the form of conspiracy theories that said, for example, that student David Hogg was a crisis actor, that he was a professional. But unfortunately, YouTube, as an algorithm, believed it and elevated it as if it was breaking news, and where a human producer would easily see through it as fake, YouTube was fooled, in part because there's often AI on the other side, creating content, creating engagement, so it fools the gatekeepers, and that's how you have the type of news cycles that are driven by false information.
So one might assume that it's, good people using good technology for good purposes, but bad actors could use this as well.
In part because it's just a tool. So in the hands of a good person, it can be used for good, but in the hands of a hacker, it can automate that level of intrusion. The way hackers look for holes in computers to then infect those systems and take them over. Well, if you could automate that by having an AI do all that hacking, you can be far more effective, far more damaging.
What happens now? Like, is there transparency? Do people even know that decisions are being made by AI like this?
Generally, no, and that's the problem. It's what researchers often call a black box society.
So there could be a real impact on democracy.
Well, absolutely. And I think it's our elections that are the current focal point, in that whether it's using false information to discourage people from voting in the first place or getting them to believe in conspiracy theories so they vote based on false information, it certainly undermines the broader democratic process while also making it really difficult to come up with public policies that respond to it.
Fascinating and scary. Thanks so much, Jesse.
Thanks, Wendy.
Jesse Hirsh.